First of all, I offer my felicitations and congratulations to all of you on this auspicious holy month, the month of Rajab. Out of all of the Islamic months, it is the one with the most events. The holy month of Rajab has the most events in it in regards to the birth and the shahadat of our Ma'sumin and also some other special events. And today we're celebrating two of those very special events, two of those personalities whom I've been asked to speak about, and both of these Imam of ours who are, according to most of the narratives, born in this holy month of Rajab, are very important personalities for a number of significant reasons, but particularly for young people. Our ninth holy Imam, Imam Mohammed al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam, who was born on the 10th of Rajab, 220 after Hijrah, and 195 after Hijrah rather. And our 10th holy Imam, Imam Ali al-Hadi alayhi salatu wasalam, who was, according to some narratives, born on the 5th of Rajab, some other narratives the 2nd of Rajab, and other narratives also mention the month of the Hijrah regarding his birth. But both of these Imams, our 9th holy Imam and our 10th holy Imam, are important A'immah for young people. For example, with regards to our 9th holy Imam, he is very significant because of the relationship that he has in the silsila of Imamat, in the line of Imamat, that he's the only son of our 8th holy Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam has reached the age of 47 or 48, and he has no children, to the extent that there's people who believe in him, who follow him as the Imam, and they're saying to him that we are having doubts about you being the Imam. Why? Because you have no children. And therefore, who's going to be the Imam after you? Until he is 48 years of age, and Imam Mohammed al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam is born. When Imam Mohammed al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam is born, Imam Ali ibn Musa alayhi salatu wasalam says about him being born that the birth of Imam Muhammad al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam is the biggest blessing for our followers. Imagine that we have Imam al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam, we have A'imma alayhi salatu wasalam, all these significant personalities. But regarding them, there's no narration that says that their birth is the biggest blessing for our Shia. For the birth of our 9th holy Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, saying the birth of this Imam is the biggest blessing for our Shia. Imagine. So what's so significant about him? Now if you look at the Imams of Alulbayt ﷺ, and when they take up the responsibility of Imamat, so if the Holy Prophet of Islam passes away, when he passes away, Imam Amirul Mu'mineen ﷺ is in his 30s. Imam Amirul Mu'mineen ﷺ passes away, Imam Hassan ﷺ is also in his 30s. Imam Hussain ﷺ obviously becomes the Imam after Imam Hassan ﷺ. He is also a person of age. Similarly, Imam Zayn al-Abidin ﷺ becomes the Imam. He is in his 20s. So on and so forth till we come to the time of our 9th holy Imam ﷺ. Now imagine that you have these individuals, these A'immah who've become Imam whilst they were adults. And so somebody might say that they, whilst nobody knew, whilst nobody was aware, whilst nobody knew about them, when they were young, they came they privately learnt from people and then became knowledgeable, so that when they came out into the people, they were able to answer their questions. Now, Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, he passes away in 203 after Hijrah. Imam Mohammed al-Jawad alayhi salam is born in 195 after Hijrah. So when Imam Mohammed al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam becomes the Imam, he takes on the responsibility of Imamate. He is 8 years old. At this moment in time, even those people, now imagine that you've got people who are followers of the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, who had doubts about his Imamate because he's not having a son. Then he has a son, and then when he passes away, his son is 8 years old. So now these people start having doubts. How can somebody who's 8 years old be an Imam? Somebody who's 8 years old, who's a child, how can this person be Imam, lead the people? So they came to the Imam and they said, how can you be the Imam when you're 8 years of age? Imam Ali replies to them, he says, didn't you read in the Holy Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says regarding Yahya, Surah Maryam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Yahya, وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. We gave him the wisdom. Here, hukum may refer to wisdom, or it may refer to rule or prophethood, so on and so forth. Different interpretations. But we gave it to him when he was young. So the Imam alayhi salam says, do you know how old Yahya was when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him prophethood? So they said, no, Ya Rasulullah, you tell us how old was Yahya when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him a prophet. So Imam alayhi salam replied that Yahya was 3 years old when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him a prophet. So if somebody who's 3 years old can be a prophet, and somebody who's 8 years old can be the Imam. So this is number one. That the blessing of Imam Muhammad al-Jawad is what? Is that even though he's 8 years old, he's going to show people, he's going to prove that he's worthy of being Imam. Imam Muhammad al-Jawad showed that he's worthy of being Imam. So what happens? Now, Imam Ali ibn Musa has passed away. Imam al-Jawad 8 years old. Ma'mun Rashid decides that he is going to marry his daughter to Imam Muhammad al-Jawad. So all of the clan, all the people, the Abbasid family, they all come to Ma'mun Rashid and they say, have you lost your mind? Have you become crazy? What's wrong with you? He says, why? He says, we have all these people in our family. We have all these suitors from our own clan, from our own tribe, from Banu Abbas, who could get married to your daughter. Why is it that you decided to marry him to somebody from Bani Abu Talib, from the family of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, from the family of Amirul Mu'minin ﷺ, and he too a person who's so young? What is it about him that makes him special that you want to marry your daughter to him? Ma'mun Rashid says to them that he's not an ordinary child. If you want to see, if you want to know, if you want to find out about him, he's not an ordinary child. Now imagine that Ma'mun Rashid is saying he's not an ordinary child for us to reflect over the Imam ﷺ, that even his enemies, even those who don't believe in him as Imam, reflecting over the fact that he's not ordinary. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, every single Imam ﷺ of ours is given a title, is given a laqab through which they're recognized through their particular time. That laqab, that title of theirs is relevant and reflective of their particular time and circumstances. Our ninth holy Imam, amongst many, has two famous titles. Imagine. Two famous titles, and both of these titles are related to people who are young. Why? Imam Mohammed al-Jawad ﷺ lives for 25 years. He's born on 10th of Rajab, 195, and he's made shaheed on the last day of Dhul Qa'dah in 220. 195 to 220? 25 years. His first title by which he is famous is At-Taqi. At-Taqi means the one with taqwa. The message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? That taqwa is for the young people. The Imam, out of all of the A'immah, the Imam who's the youngest, we call him At-Taqi. To tell you that taqwa is not for when you become old. Taqwa is for when you are young. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see young people as muttaqi. And the other title by which he is famous is al-Jawad. Al-Jawad is what? There's different types of generous in Arabic. Al-Jawad is that kind of generous who helps other people even if he himself is in difficulty. That person is called al-Jawad. The one who helps other people. The one who helps whosoever is in need, without reflecting over whether I myself am in need or not. So Ma'mun, he tells his family members that this person is not ordinary. Call him and you will find out. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam comes, he's called into the court. All of the Abbasid clan, they bring the Qadi al-Qudar, Chief Justice of the time. Yahya ibn Aktham. They bring him. And they say to him, ask him a question which is so difficult that he can't answer. Yahya ibn Aktham is 70 years old. Imam Mohammed al-Jawad is 8 years old or 9 years old. When they come, imagine, they're in the courts, all the people are present there, there's a 9-year-old versus a 70-year-old. Yahya ibn Aktham, as any old person would say, says to this Abbasid clan, you want me to discuss debate with this child? So Ma'mun al-Rashid says, ask him, you will find him worthy. Ask him. Imam alayhi he says to the Imam, shall I ask the questions or will you ask the questions? Imam says, ask. He's the grandson of the one who sat on the mimbar of Kufa and said, ask me whatever you want to ask me. So Yahya ibn Aktham asks. He says, what is the ruling, what is the hukum for a person who hunts in the state of Ihram? Imam ﷺ says, there are over 23 possibilities in your question. There are over 23 possibilities in your question. He says, what do you mean? Those who are familiar with the laws and the fiqh of Islam know that the most difficult topic is the topic of Hajj. In that topic, everybody is in difficulty. As soon as they go for Hajj, put on Ihram, everybody is in difficulty to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And especially in the state of Ihram where any little thing going wrong will make a person necessitate to pay kafara. Imam says to him, your question is not complete. You have to tell me whether the ihram is for Umrah Tamattu or for Hajj Tamattu. You have to tell me whether the hunting took place inside the precincts of Masjid al-Haram or it was outside. You have to tell me whether it was in the day or the night. You have to tell me whether it was intentional or unintentional. You have to tell me whether the person did it for the first time or they had done it before. You have to tell me whether this person was a free person or this person was a slave. You have to tell me all of these things. Once you tell me these things, then I can give you an answer. He goes silent. He goes silent. Ma'mun Rashid says, why don't you ask more questions? He says, after asking one question, I'm already in difficulty. Of course, the debate goes on. It's a long discussion. But it's to highlight Imam Ali as a child and how big a blessing he is for followers of Alulbayt. What does he say? One debate is over. Ma'mun Rashid says to his family members, he says, are you satisfied that this person is not an ordinary person? This man is not an ordinary man. So now what can they say? They had brought Yahya ibn Aktham, 70 years old, Qadi al-Qudat, Chief Justice appointed by Ma'mun, and yet this person was not able to discuss with Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. So Ma'mun Rashid now organizes the wedding. Now when he organizes the wedding, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam comes and al-Fadl, his daughter of Ma'mun. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam recites the khutbah of nikah. You'll recall that whenever we gather for a wedding and before the nikah, the khutbah is recited. That khutbah that we recite is the khutbah of Imam Mohammed al-Jawad. This is the khutbah that Imam recited in the court of Ma'mun. And amongst the other things that Imam gave to al-Fadl as mahar was something very special. If you go to Mafatihul Jinan, you'll see that there's on the Hashia, on the margins is Baqiyatul Salihat. In Baqiyatul Salihat, these du'as are mentioned from Imam al-Islam, which he gave as mahar to al-Fadl on the marriage. And then there's something very special. What is that? One day after the marriage has taken place, Imam al-Islam is in Medina, Ma'mun Rashid becomes very drunk. He becomes drunk, totally out. And then he goes with his servant to the house of Imam al-Jawad, thinking that Imam al-Jawad wants to overthrow me. He wants to take over my kingdom. He goes into the house of Imam al-Jawad with the intent to kill him. Servant says that I saw Ma'mun al-Rashid go into the house. I was with him. He went towards Imam and he killed him. And not only did he kill him, but he cut his body into pieces. Imagine, in the night, Ma'mun Rashid is drunk. He went into the house, he killed Imam a.s. and he cut his body into pieces. Next day, Imam a.s. comes out of his house and he's fine. Ma'mun Rashid says to his servant that yesterday, did you see what I did? Servant says, yes, I was there with you. Of course, he's drunk, but he's not lost his mind. He knows that he went in there and he killed the Imam, and now today he's seeing that Imam is fine. So he says to the servant, did you see that I killed him? He says, yes. He says, did you see that after killing him, I chopped his body into pieces? He said, yes. He says, then how is it possible that today he's fine? The servant says, I'm as confused as you are. But there's only one solution. He says, what's that? He says, you have to ask him. So Ma'mun Rashid says, have you lost your mind? If I ask him, then he'll know that I came to kill him. He says, but there's no other way to find a solution to this matter that you chopped his body into pieces and today he is fine. So Ma'mun Rashid says to him, he confesses, he says, this is what happened last night. But today you are fine. What is it that you have on you that protected you from me? So Imam ﷺ took out a piece of paper. And he says to Ma'mun Rashid, this is with me which gives me protection. This which I have with me gives me protection. Now imagine, now you realize the value of what it means to be al-Jawad. This event and story tells you what does it mean to be al-Jawad. Imam al-Salam says, this which is with me has Ismullah al-A'zam. And therefore it protects me from all the enemies. Imagine. If you observe today, you go to Karbala, or you go to Najaf, or you go to Iran, and you'll see there's some places where they'll be selling the rings, or sometimes they sell a tablet and it's called Hirzul Jawad. This is the same one that Imam ﷺ had. Ma'mun Rashid says to Imam, imagine that he's just confessed that yes, last night I was drunk and I came and I killed you, and not only I killed you but I cut you into pieces. Now he says, Yabna Rasulullah, can you give this to me? Imagine somebody has just admitted to me that this person has wanted me to be dead and now he's asking me for something. You imagine if it's someone like me, I'm going to turn around and say to him, you're the last person, I'm going to give you anything. Even if you're the last person left on earth, I'm not going to give it to you. Imam ﷺ makes a copy of it and gives it to him. This is what it means to be al-Jawad. This is what it means to be al-Jawad. This is why he's Muhammad al-Jawad. But not just with regards to how to deal with enemies. More important and more significant is how do you deal with people who are close to you, people who are around you. And we have practical lessons regarding that from Imam Ali. A companion comes to the Imam and he says to him, Yabna Rasulullah, I am a follower of yours. I believe in your imamate. But my father, unfortunately, he is a Nasibi. He's an enemy of Alulbayt. And he says many things about you and about Alulbayt to me in order to hurt me, in order to get a reaction from me. So what should I do? And this is something that is a practical thing that is relevant in our lives. Maybe somebody is not a relative of mine, or a friend of mine, or a family member of mine is not a Nasibi, but that person is not nice to me. That person does not treat me well. Imam ﷺ says what? How am I supposed to treat that person? Does that justify me to treat that person badly? Imam ﷺ says no. Remember that just because that person treats you badly is not a justification for you to treat them in that way. But rather, you have to treat them with honor and reverence. Imam ﷺ says, even though it's difficult for you, even though it's hard for you, but you have to treat this person with honor and reverence. This person narrating the story himself says that I took this advice from the Imam even though it was difficult for me. But after some time, this person, this father of mine, he stopped being a Nasibi and he came towards the path of Allah as a result of the way that I treated him. Imagine. Our 10th Holy Imam, now we're getting even closer. So this is the time of our 9th Holy Imam. Now in the time of our 10th Holy Imam, we're getting closer to the time of the Khaybar. And so in the big time of our 9th Holy Imam, we have preparations for what is to come. the first special representative of our 12th Holy Imam Uthman ibn Sa'id is a servant in the house of the 9th Holy Imam. Imagine, this is how early preparations for ghaibat are beginning. And then he is also a companion of our 10th Holy Imam. Now, imagine our 10th Holy Imam, he has all these difficult tasks amongst him that he has to preserve and to prolong the time in which to how to communicate with his followers, how to show them the way and the system of what's going to come after that, and also make sure that everything that is being recorded, everything that is being documented is in accordance and with the correct beliefs, correct practices of the Imam. All of these are the tasks of our 10th Holy Imam. So our 9th Holy Imam has become the Imam, will take on the responsibility of Imamate when he's 8 years old. Our 10th Holy Imam, alayhi salatu wasalam, according to different narratives, either is born in 212 or he's born in 214. If we say he's born in 212, he's the same age as his father was when he took on Imam. He's born in 212 and Imam al-Jawad is made shaheed in 220, so he's also 8 years old. Some riwayat say no, he's born in 214. And if he's born in 214 and Imam al-Jawad is made shaheed in 220, so now he's 6 years old. This is all what? Preparation for our 12th Holy Imam, who's going to be 5 years old. Now 10th Holy Imam. So imagine we've had an Imam who is 8 years old, and now we've got an Imam who's 6 years old. Imam al-Hadi. This Imam of ours, very special Imam. For Imam al-Jawad, Imam al-Rida said this is the biggest blessing for Alulbayt. Why? Because through him we are going to recognize that a young person being an Imam, a child being an Imam is the same as an adult being an Imam. Imam al-Hadi, preservation of our beliefs, of correct beliefs. Why? Because this is a time amongst followers of Alulbayt where all kinds of new ideas are spread. So how do we know which idea, which belief system, which practice, which idea that people have come up with, it's actually from the Imam and which is not? In this time, attention has been drawn towards people visiting shrines of Alulbayt. Why? In the previous times, up until the time of Imam al-Sadiq, people didn't even know where the shrines of Alulbayt were. And even if you did know, there was no chance of you being able to visit those shrines. After that, people start to go know those shrines. They start to visit those shrines. So when you are going to those shrines and you're visiting those shrines, now you need to know how do you address the Imams ﷺ who are in those shrines. For this reason, the vast majority of our ziyarat, vast majority, are narrated to us from our 10th Holy Imam. Amongst them, famous amongst them, is Ziyarat al-Jami'atul Kabira from our 10th Holy Imam. Also, the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen to be recited on the day of Ghadir. Both of these ziyarat, very long, very detailed ziyarat. In each of them, there's something common. Both of them, there's something common. Which is what? Which is that all of our beliefs, every single one of our beliefs regarding A'immah of Alulbayt are mentioned in these ziyarat. So it's not just a ziyarat that I go there and I recite it at the shrine of Imam Amirul Mu'min alayhi salam, or in the case of Ziyarat al-Jamia, in the shrine of all of the Aimam. It's mentioned that this ziyarat, it's called Jamia, means comprehensive. Can be recited at the shrine of any one of the Alulbayt. In that, it's not just a ziyarat that I go there and recite it. No, it's for me to reflect over that ziyarat and find out, are my beliefs in accordance with this ziyarat or not? Are my practices in accordance with this ziyarat or not? Now they translated, it's all available on the Azal, all of these ziyarat are there in English. So we take some time out of our lives and reflect over those ziyarat. Reflect over those sayings of the Imam al-Salam. That famous saying that you all know comes from this ziyarat Jami al-Kabira. Kalamukum Noor is a statement from this ziyarat Jami al-Kabira. That your words, your kalam is Noor, is illumination. It allows us to be illuminated in our lives. Where we have confusion of darkness, your kalam, your words are illumination for our path. So that we know where we're going, which direction we should be going. What we should be believing and what we should be doing in our lives, kalamukum nur. It's from this ziyarat of Imam Ali. Salawat ala Muhammad wa and Imam alayhi salatu salam, this our 10th holy Imam alayhi salatu salam, is teaching us, as all of the Imam alayhi salam in each of their respective times, that remember wherever there will be confusion, wherever there will be difficulty, wherever there will be problems regarding the Holy Quran, then remember that Imam of each time will be there to give you guidance about the Holy Quran. That means what? That means that if I am a follower of this Imam alayhi salatu salam, then Holy Quran should be part of my life. The Holy Quran has to be an integral part of my life. That I know that what is the Holy Quran and how is it applicable to my life. For example, Mutawakkil Abbasi, who is the ruler in the time of our 10th holy Imam. Before I mentioned that. So remember we said that in the time of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, they brought Yahya ibn Aktham, Chief Justice. So imagine that this 70-year-old person, he's been humiliated in front of all of these people, and now Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam is gone. Now it's the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. Now there's two narratives regarding this particular incident of asking questions. So I'll mention both of them. One of them states that after Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam has passed away, they say to Yahya ibn Aktham, let's ask some questions to Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. Imagine. Now, Yahya ibn Aktham is 8 years old. And Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is also 6 years old. So, imagine you already been humiliated by asking questions to Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, but you didn't learn. So you decided, let's ask questions to Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. This is one narrative. Same questions, one narrative states this is what happened. Another narrative states that no, instead of asking Imam directly, they send some questions to Musa ibn Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Those of you who have been for ziyarat will know that Musa ibn Imam al-Jawad alayhi salatu salam is buried in the holy city of Qom. And he's called Musa al-Mubarraka, the one who used to cover his face because he was so beautiful. And all of the Sadat who are Radawi descend from Musa ibn Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. So he's the brother of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. They sent questions to him. Musa, he's a scholar. He's the son of the Imam. He's a brother of the Imam, but he's not the Imam. Without shadow of doubt, he's a scholar in his own right. But he's not the Imam. So he doesn't know answers to questions that only Imam would know. So he comes to Imam. And he says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, oh my brother, these are the questions that were sent to me. So Imam asked him, did you answer them? He says, no, I don't know the answers to them. So Imam a.s. instructs him, in this narrative, Imam a.s. instructs him. He says, I will dictate to you the answers, you write down the answers and send it to the Khalifa. The list of questions is very long. I'll just mention a couple of those questions to give you an insight into the kind of questions that they asked and the answers that Imam gave and what lesson it gives to us. The first question that is asked from Yahya ibn Aktham is, tell us, who was the person who brought the throne of Bilqis in the presence of Sulaiman, and why was Sulaiman in need of this person? Imam a.s. replies. He says, as for your question regarding who was it that brought the throne of Bilqis in the court of Sulaiman, then know that that person was whom Quran refers to, that he spoke who had ilm min al-kitab, the one who he spoke who had some knowledge of the book. He is Asif bin Barkhia, the wasi of Sulaiman alayhi salam. And as for your question that why is it that Sulaiman asked him to bring the throne and not brought it himself, then know that yes, Sulaiman had the capability and the ability and the power to bring the throne of Bilqis himself. But it is the responsibility of each and every prophet to introduce his successor to the people. And Asif bin Barkhia was the successor of Sulaiman. Therefore, in order to introduce him to the people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Sulaiman to ask him to bring the throne, just as in the case of introducing Sulaiman himself, Dawood was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give the case of deciding the matter between these two people to Sulaiman, so that people may be able to recognize that Sulaiman is the successor after. The second question. He says the second question is that why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Yaqub to prostrate towards Yusuf? Why is it? In Surah Yusuf it's mentioned that Yusuf alayhi salam saw the dream. What did he see? Famous story that you all read and heard before. That he sees the dream that the sun and the moon and the stars are prostrating, doing sajda towards me. He sees the dream, he comes and tells his father, he says, and Yaqub says, this is the dream which tells you about what's going to happen, that we're going to prostrate towards you, but don't tell anyone. And then when he becomes the Aziz al-Misr, they prostrate towards him. So he says, what's the justification for this? So Imam says, no, that there are two types of prostration. There is the prostration of obedience, of ibadat, of ita'at, and there is the prostration of respect and of love. And know that the prostration of Yaqub towards Yusuf was not the prostration of ibadat which can only be done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but was the prostration of love and reverence towards Yusuf. Just as Allah ordered the angels to prostrate towards Adam, and it was not worship towards Adam, but rather reverence of Adam. Now he asks, Imam Ali imagine all of these questions regarding the Holy Quran. Then he asks that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Holy Quran, if all the seas became ink and all the trees became pens, you could not write the kalimat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does this mean? Imam alayhi salam says, we are the kalimat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that if all the trees became pens and all the seas became ink, you would not be able to write regarding our merits, regarding our fadail, regarding our beliefs, which is what Rasulullah had said regarding Amir al-Mu'mineen that Ya Ali, if all the pens, if all the trees became pens and all the seas became ink, even then they would not be able to enumerate your fadail, your merit.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
But all of this is giving us insight into what? That Imam alayhi salam is not separated from Quran. Which is what the hadith of the Holy Prophet Islam means. That إِنِّي تَارِكُمْ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَإِتْرَةِ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي لَنْ يَفْتَرِقَا حَتَّى يَرِدَ عَلِيهِ. This lan means never, they will never be separated. لَنْ يَفْتَرِقَا حَتَّى يَرِدَ عَلِيهِ, until they meet me at the pool of Kawthar. You have to follow them. If you follow them, you would never go astray, but they would never separate. In other words, wherever there is Imam of Alulbayt, you would see Quran with them. Therefore, follow Alulbayt, Quran has to be in my life. Imam is telling us, look, all of these answers are from the Holy Quran. Similarly, when Tawakkil Abbasi becomes ill, many narratives of this, that Mutawakkil Abbasi on a number of times becomes ill, and he writes, for example, one time he becomes ill, his mother, and he's about to die. All the doctors have said that he's going to die. His mother writes to Imam and says that I want you to write me an ointment in order to make sure that my son doesn't die. Imam alayhi salam tells him this is what you need, tells her that this is the ointment that you need to make, and send it to him, use it, inshallah ta'ala, he will have shifa. Imagine, this person wants to kill you, he wants to oppress you, he wants to swear at your family, he wants to torture and kill your followers, but when he's about to die and he's asked you for something, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam still gives it to him. Why? Because he's the son of al-Jawad. Even then he gives it to him. On another time he becomes unwell again. This time he does a nidr, he does a promise that when I become well, I will give malul kathir in charity. So after some time he recovers from his illness. Now he calls all the scholars and he says to them that this is the nidr that I made, this is the promise that I made, that I will give malul kathir in charity. So he says, what is malul kathir? So somebody says to him 100 is malul kathir, somebody says to him 1000 is malul kathir, somebody says 10,000, 100,000. He says, this is fine, these are all your opinions. What's the daleel, the proof that this is malul kathir? Now nobody has an answer. They're all given their opinions, but they don't have an answer as to what is malul kathir. Finally, after having asked everybody, he calls the Imam. He says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, this is what I promised. Now I've recovered. What is malul kathir? Imam alayhi salam says, malul kathir is 80 gold coins. 80 gold coins. So he says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what is the evidence that malul kathir is 80 gold coins? Imam alayhi salam says, refer to the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah says, addressing the Holy Prophet of Islam, لَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَوَاتِنَا كَثِيرَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped you on kathir occasions. He says, how many occasions? This is referring to the battles of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Imam alayhi salam says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assisted the Holy Prophet of Islam on 80 occasions. This is the daleel of this being malul kathir, being 80, in light of this verse of the Holy Quran. One final thing to mention, then we'll Imagine that this is the time where Imam والسلام, is creating, making the preparation for our fulfillment. One of them is through the ziyarat. Is through these ziyarat in order to ensure that people would know what's the correct beliefs. The other is through appointing representatives who people can refer to. Imam Ali, again, those who will be for ziyarat for Iran will know that when you go there, there are numerous individuals from the time of our 9th, 10th, 11th holy Imams who have been told, who have been appointed by Imams والسلام, saying that if you seek your answers to your questions, seek it from them and consider their replies to be our replies. Imagine, Imam Alulbayt is there, present, available. But due to circumstances, people cannot meet him. Or if you go and meet him, then after that, your life will be in danger. If you can go and meet him, and you come back and the government knows that you've gone to meet Imam of Alulbayt, your life is going to be in danger. So therefore, people are scared to go and meet him. So now what do you do? If you have a religious query, if you have something to know, to find out, who do you ask? Imam alayhi salam says, these are the people to ask. Amongst them, some of them from the family of the Holy Prophet, some of them from the Sa'adat, and some of them ordinary individuals. Due to their taqwa, due to their knowledge, due to their piety, are considered by Imam alayhi salam people through whom you refer your questions to. Amongst them, number of people. For example, one of them, those of you again who've been for ziyarat to Iran know, Shah Abdul Aziz Hassani, buried in Ray. He is from the descendants of Imam Hassan alayhi salatu salam, but he lives in the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam says, if you find out your answer from him, consider it to be my answer. If you find your answer from Shah Abdul Alim Hassani, imagine it to be my reply, my answer, the same as mine. Or another individual also from Iran, Fadl ibn Shahdan, also from Qom, and the time of our 10th holy Imam. Imam alayhi salam says about him, and he has narrated numerous ahadith of Al-Badr that if you find your answer from him, consider it to be my answer. One more individual and one story regarding him, and then we'll conclude. He is from the descendants of our 6th holy Imam and lives in the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, Abu Hashim al-Ja'fari, companion of 9th, 10th, 11th holy Imam. Again, one individual about whom Imam says, if you find your answer from him, imagine it to be my answer. One day, he says, I was present with the Imam والسلام, and I saw that there was a person there were people in the Imam's house who worked for the Imam from different parts of the world. And whenever they would come to the Imam, Imam ﷺ would speak to them in their own language. Sometimes he would speak to them in Turkish, sometimes he would speak to them in whichever language, whichever region they had come from. Some of them had come from India, some of them had come from Iran, some of them had come from other places. And each of them, Imam spoke to them in their own language. So Abu Hashim says, I thought to myself, I just imagined in my mind, I didn't say anything, that how is it that Imam alayhi salam, Abu Hassan, Ali ibn Muhammad al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam knows these languages when he's never been there? He's from Samarra. He's never been to Iran, he's never been to India, he's never been to Turkey, but he knows these languages. I'm just thinking this in my mind to myself, Abu Hashim says, that Imam alayhi salam looks up and says to him, Abu Hashim, you're thinking, how do I know these languages when I haven't been there? Imam says to him, Abu Hashim, you are thinking that how do I know these languages when I've never been there? So Abu Hashim know that the Imam of Khalq, the Imam of creation, has to know all the languages of the creation, otherwise how can he be an Imam over them? If he is dependent on a translator, then he is dependent, and that dependent cannot be an Imam. Even if this was the end of the story, it would have been sufficient. But Imam alayhi salam says there's a pebble in front of him. He picks up the pebble, he puts it in his mouth, and then he tells Abu Hashim, put it in your mouth. Abu Hashim puts it in his mouth. Abu Hashim says, when I put that pebble that had been in the mouth of the Imam in my mouth, I felt that I could speak 70 languages. Imam alayhi salam says, Abu Hashim, not only we know these languages, but we can teach it to other people. We could teach it to you as well, just through this. Imagine. This is our 10th holy Imam, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam, who, out of all of these difficult tasks, is inviting us to think that, remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made these two A'immah of ours, the young ones, and the names and titles He's given them, whether it's taqwa, whether it's generosity. And our 10th Imam alayhi salatu salam, al-Hadi and al-Naqi. Naqi comes from niqaya, which means purity. That purity is also for the young. Hadi, hidayat, guidance is also for the young. Taqwa is also for the young. Generosity is also, all of these things are for young people. And these two A'immah, born in the holy month of Rajab, are giving us, inviting us through their birth and through this celebration for us to reflect on it. That these two A'immah are ones who are giving the message to young people, that know that these are the things that you need to do when you are young, not when you become old, not when you decide that now I've become old and I've done everything in my life, now I can be a good person. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me, who as a young person, to look at these A'immah and say that this time of reflection is for the young. This time of reflection, this time of celebration. So if this is one thing that we take from this celebration today, that these two A'immah, if I'm a young person, number one, I need to know about the life of these A'immah. And number two, I need to apply those lessons into my own life. Inshallah ta'ala, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of this holy month and the sake of these holy personalities who are born in this holy month, to forgive our sins and to elevate the status of our marhumeen, to protect the followers of Alulbayt wherever they are in the world, particularly where they're facing oppression. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect their lives, their dignity, their wealth, their homes, their families. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to act according to the teachings of A'immah and to give us their shafa'at in the next life. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure our sick and to alleviate all of those who are in suffering. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate the status of our marhumeen, mu'mineen and mu'minat, and to protect Muslimeen and Muslimat and mu'mineen and mu'minat from all of the shar and the evil of the dunya. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of our awaited Imam, and to make us amongst those who serve him. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ بِحَقِّ مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِهِ الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.